Every once in a while, something happens in baseball that brings me right back to being president of a team. Right back to I'm literally seeing a situation, and I'm going and transporting myself into that clubhouse, becoming president of that team. There's nothing I haven't seen before. That's obviously hyperbole. You see a lot of things over 18 years. Walker Buehler, the starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, arguing balls and strikes with the home plate umpire, Mike Easterbrook, and getting ejected in the third inning. Yeah, I've seen that. Needing to have your bullpen cover innings that they didn't want to have to cover, that you weren't planning to cover, other than for lack of performance, which you don't expect to get from Walker Buehler. You go into an MLB game with the expectation that the most you want to have to go to your bullpen is for 12 outs. You really don't want to have to go for 15 outs, but the real hope is you can go for 9 or even 6 in an ideal situation. That's how every game starts. Starting pitchers know, because we tell them what the status is of the bullpen going into that game. There are so many times when your bullpen has been run ragged that the starting pitcher is told, listen, dude, you're going to wear this. You may not want to give up 50 runs if you can help it, and try not to get 50 pitches in a particular inning because your arm may fall off. But we can't afford to go to the bullpen because they're dragging. They need rest. We need innings. We would tell our starting pitcher that, what the expectation was, what we needed. Walker Buehler going into the game last night, Red Sox Mets, clear as day, the Red Sox needed length, and Walker Buehler did something that he knows you can't do, period. Arguing balls and strikes is told to players from day one of spring training, you get ejected. That's it. When you're in the dugout and you're the manager and you're arguing balls and strikes, you're going to get ejected. When you're in the dugout and you're not a player, you're a coach or a player who is, when you're not a manager, but you're a coach or you're a player in the dugout and you're yelling to the home plate umpire about balls and strikes, some umpires will give you a warning. Others, they'll ring you. When you're in the field, here's the rule. You can't leave your position to argue balls and strikes. It's a steadfast rule. You can't break it because it's automatic. Here's what we would tell players. It's like steroids. It's automatic. Just like sticky stuff. It's automatic. If you argue balls and strikes out of your position, you'll be ejected. Walker Buehler lost his mind. In the third inning, he decides to disengage from the rubber, be off the dirt, because umpires will give you that leniency for the pitcher. You own the mound. But if you get onto the grass and you're arguing balls and strikes, you're going to get rung. And that's what happened to Buehler. He even admitted it. He said, I've been in this league too long for that to happen. For me personally, it's one of those things where you're very conflicted. You feel very convicted in what I felt and saw. But at the same time, this is a team game and something I let get out of hand. That's the disappointing part of it. He knows that he had 6 pitchers follow him in that shutout. He knows that Juan Soto was at the plate when he got ejected. He knows very well that the ball that he threw was a strike. What's the use of arguing it? Now, challenge system for the defense, for the pitcher, I wonder if that'll ever be in the big leagues. You're getting my point. You're Walker Buehler, you know it's coming. You're Mike Easterbrook, you know it's coming. You're the crew chief, Laz Diaz, you know it's coming, but you still speak to the reporter after the game as the crew chief, and you say he can say stuff from the mound, but once he comes off the mound, he's leaving his position to argue balls and strikes. And once anybody leaves their position to argue balls and strikes, that's an immediate ejection. That's it. That's the mic drop. And the players know it. As president of the Red Sox, you walk into that clubhouse after that game and you just look at Buehler and you roll your eyes a little bit. Then you walk into the manager's office with the GM and you figure out whether someone's going to lose their job because of what Walker Buehler just did. And when I say lose their job, it's because we may have to send out somebody to bring up a fresh arm. We may have to option a player to the minor leagues and have them lose their major league pay because we need an arm because Buehler decided to argue balls and strikes. Umpires under the tutelage of Michael Hill, who runs them, you teach them and ask them not to escalate, not to make things worse. But the umpires are allowed to, A, stand their ground. They're also allowed to warn a player, mask on or mask off. And some people are very upset that it looked like Mike Easterbrook wanted this interaction, like he took his helmet off and walked toward Buehler. Umpires are told that if you are doing that, you are doing that with the knowledge of what is going to happen. The minute Buehler argued balls and strikes from the grass, he was already ejected. It was a matter of when, not if. Laz Diaz tells you it's immediate. Easterbrook wants to come out. He's maybe thinking to himself, this is a veteran. He was on the mound when the World Series ended last year. We've got only the third inning. We've got Juan Soto at the plate. There's all sorts of things that can be happening other than a home plate umpire getting distracted by Lindor stealing. That's what happened. Lindor is stealing second, strike to Soto, call the ball because the receiver is up and throwing other than leaving it for the umpire to see in the glove.